Hello, it's Dave Strider here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about politics. We're going to get a little political today. I'm going to tell you all about politics. Because I think that, in modern day, it's a really important topic for everybody to be discussing. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about J.B. Pritzker. Because I think that he's doing some really important work. Rumor has it, everybody's talking about it these days in the media, that he's going to be going for president. And I think that, after, the administrations after my favorite one personally, I think that it's really important for everybody to just sit down and look at what JB's up to. Recently, Governor J.B. Pritzker said that he'd be willing to call a special legislative session if lawmakers could agree on a stadium plan to keep the Chicago Bears in Illinois. But he sharply criticized the team's handling of negotiations and said that any deal must protect taxpayers. I don't know about you, but I do pay taxes. Dave Strider, I pay taxes. And they're already taking a lot of my money. These days, every time I turn on the old video cube, there's an ad for gambling, an ad for marijuana. I like these things, but they can't be doing all that and taking our taxes. No, they cannot. He said, if the legislature can get together on one piece of legislation, we absolutely could do that. He said, I'd be happy to call it a special session. By the way, so too can the leaders of legislature call in a special session. He repeatedly said that he does not support raising taxes to fund a stadium for the team. His first priority is not raising people's taxes to pay the privately owned stadium. That's number one. Any stadium owned by a billionaire-owned family. He said that Illinois is not going to raise taxes to do that. I think that's really important. So that's dice number one. We can just a minute here. Dice number two. It's always fumbling. Things are fumbling around here. Falls in the cracks. And dice number two here. This is nice. It looks orangey red depending on the lighting. Got this half and half sort of going on here. Although, I don't know if that's due to age. He's been sitting in a box for a while. It's all going to one side here. Just all the red on this side here. But this is a D something. It's D20. See that 20? Got that gold on orange. You really can't see that well. I don't know why they would paint that like that. Personally, I would have put, contrasting blue, a nice light blue, metallic blue. I'm gonna put a black, make that real gothy. So Governor J.B. Pritzker, for the last 4 years or so, and members of the General Assembly provided strong leadership in rebuilding Illinois following the years of disinvestment and the pandemic. We can't forget about that. So together, Pritzker, his administration, and the General Assembly have expanded access to health care for the most vulnerable, and they have increased K through 12 school funding to record levels. That's why our kids are smart. That's why everybody else's kids are dumb. More students are receiving aid at public colleges and universities than ever before, and are graduating to a more robust, secure economy than Illinois has seen in years. Now, my personal experience that, it's tough out there for people majoring in, wielding the blade, people majoring in rapping. These are things that, traditionally pretty hard to find in this economy. And, it's not getting any easier out there. But I believe him when he says he's putting money into it. I do believe. Says that consistent balanced budgets and bill down payments combined with the rainy day savings and business investments have made Illinois one of the best places in the country to live, to work, to raise a family. Now, this is wonderful. These are his key highlights. We're going to get into his key highlights of saving Illinois. What are we going to do about Illinois? Pritzker has a plan. I'm going to show you one more die here. Let's pull up a new one. What do you think we should pick? Do you think that we should pick the blue sparkle pull that up for you. Or the yellow marble. Which one do you like more? I think the yellow marble, the white, very hopeful. Reminds me of hope, reminds me of Obama. Blue with this gold, and see it has a bit more multicolor on the bottom here. Another case of it sitting in the drawer. I think that we're gonna go with this one. I think I like this one a little bit more. We'll come back to this later. So after years of falling behind, Illinois is stronger today than any time in recent history. We enacted budget balances every year, received credit updates for the first time in 2 decades, lowering interest rates and improving Illinois' finances. It paid down the state's bill backlog and eliminated late bill payment, saving taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars in interest. We improved state finances, assisting Illinois universities and community colleges in achieving credit rating upgrades. As well, increased state funding, K-12 education, while expanding early childhood education and child care and awarding more college scholarships to Illinois students. We reformed police and firefighter pension funds to increase assets and reduce the burden on property taxpayers. Now we're seeing that happening in that reduction of burden on property taxpayers, and that's very important. You spend all this work, let's say you're 18, freshly coming into the adult world. It's tough. It's tough. You got a job? Probably not. And let's say you want to buy a house someday. Let's say, I got a friend of mine, works part-time, makes minimum wage, should be, living wage, makes about $600 a paycheck. Now, do you think that person is going to be able to buy a house? Do you think that person is going to be able to afford the down payment for a house, about 20% of the, steadily increasing housing cost, and then additionally pay more and more on taxes for it every year? Tell you what, folks, a condo in Illinois can have upwards of $10,000 in taxes every year. Do you have $10,000 in taxes? Because I do not. Dave Strider, I do not. Now, Pritzker also made strategic bipartisan investments to modernize roads, bridges, schools, and broadband, means internet, investing for the future while creating and supporting good jobs now. And this is important because, people need to be able to get places. People need to be able to send their kids to school, be trustful that that school is doing them well. And a lot of the time, these kids are on Zoom now. These kids are on online school. And if you send them to school, they got those damn Chromebooks. And they got that broadband internet. Pritzker also banned assault weapons and removed dangerous ghost guns from the street, expanded expressway cameras, invested in the largest trooper class in Illinois State Police history. Now, don't ask me about my opinion on that one. Don't ask me about my opinion on that one. But I will say that removing guns from the street is good. He passed the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act, committing to a sustainable future for Illinois. It's very good. We need that, especially these days. More and more towns are fighting back against the data centers in Illinois, and it's wonderful to see. He also outperformed neighboring states and all the most populous states during the pandemic, keeping more people alive and safe while supporting families and small businesses through the pandemic-induced recession. Very important, very important. A lot of this, this endorsement of Pritzker happened during this pandemic because, imagine you're a leader. Imagine you're a leader. This is where we're going to come back to this hopeful orb. Imagine you're a leader and all of a sudden, you got this worldwide epidemic that your boss is no help with. And so you're going, shit, what do I do? What do I do about this? And what I would think, my initial thought is to just hand it off to someone else. But hey, when you're J.B. Pritzker, it's not what you do. you buckle down and you handle it. So, on the topic of, you know, other greatest achievements in making Illinois stronger, Pritzker has made sure to manage Illinois' finances responsibly. You know, he eliminated the state's multi-billion-dollar bill backlog, so Illinois is paying its bills on time for the first time in 2 decades. And that's quite impressive. That wouldn't have happened under my leadership. He balanced 3 straight budgets, investing in key priorities like education, healthcare, public safety, and human services, while paying down state debt. He consolidated nearly 650 downstate and suburban first responders' pensions with the goal of alleviating billions in local property tax burden. He launched a new billion-dollar cannabis industry that is now employing roughly 15,000 Illinoisans in new jobs, more than a third of the tax revenue coming from out-of-state customers. And he increased the share of federal dollars coming to Illinois by hundreds of millions of dollars, reducing the burden on Illinois taxpayers with the most robust state census count among the 10 largest states. Let's go ahead and pick a new die. What do you think? You just pick a new die. Do you like any of these in particular? Is there one that you find yourself drawn to? Here, let me lay them out for you. They're loud as hell. Just don't worry about that. We have this one. It's this white and red. I'll place that down for you there. Sort of a light pink. You see that? That light pink. It looks a little whiter in this cool lighting. I promise you, it's sort of a sweet blush pink. That's on this dice here. We'll have that as option number 1. I hate this little ceramic tomato. I don't know. It's great for decoration. But when I touch it, it sounds like it's exploding every time. Next we have this green one here. This is another one that's sort of split down the middle there. Sort of bifurcated, if you will. And with this one, I like it. I do. This green's a nice forest green into a nice bit of a deep aqua there. Teal. This is wonderful. This is a nice looking dye, but I think that it's maybe not quite what we're looking for. But I'll keep that on as option number 2 for you there. Option 3, we have this one. This one's one of my favorites personally. This one is quite beautiful, quite crystal. There's that green into blue into purple. I bet you I could spin this thing if I had greasier fingers. What I really like about this one, I don't quite know how many sides this is. I think this is a 9-sided. But I think that this is this sort of gummy look is very in these days. Keep that as choice number 3 for you there. And we have another one in the same shape as that. It's just a regular old blue. And I think there's something quite calming and casual about the blue. I think that it's pretty uniform, but simplicity is a virtue. We'll keep that there as choice number 3. Now this is the same thing, but this is a slightly bigger die. It's a D12, I believe. It was a D12. And with this one, I'm just not seeing it. I don't see the appeal. I think it's got all the charm that this one does, but in a slightly less fun shape. Now this one is D20, is the classic, right? Classic. And it's got that sort of gummy, multicolor effect there. I think this is quite beautiful. If you were to shine a flashlight through this thing, I bet you'd glow like the fucking sun. We'll put that right there. And we got these nicely grouped here. I don't know if you noticed. These are turning out nicely grouped. I'm trying to be so careful when I do these. This one as well. very multicolor. I quite like the shape of this. I like the shape of this one a lot. I think this one is quite gorgeous. It's very pyramidal, you know. And with this one, we got sort of dual triangles happening here. And this is nice. This is a wonderful thing. But if we look at the whole, we look at it this way, quite squareoid, you know. And so that's everything you need to know about this guy. This one, I quite like this one. This reminds me of the, that D20 we had earlier, that orange and red. I quite like that fiery aesthetic. Not a lot of contrast on the numbers, but you can still read them just fine, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and just dump that out. Just dump that out. And get a look at all these. Yeah, this one. This sort of again this little top you can spin. It's fine. You know, I think I'm gonna skip through these ones with these sort of looks we've had before. I think these are all, from a set. Yeah, these are all from a set. And that's why you're sort of seeing the same thing over and over here. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's great to have, complete set. You're a collector, some kind, collecting taxpayer debt. Ah, here, this is a new one. I don't think I've shown. I quite like this one. This one is a D20. You can see that. Again with the contrast, but this is quite an angelic look. It really reflects the marble in the sunlight. Quite gorgeous. We have another one of these. I don't know how I ended up with two of these. You see that? Two of a kind right there. And we have three little red ones. This one has a little thingy on it. I don't know what that's quite supposed to be, but these are they're nice. Look how small they are. They're quite cute. Dinky. So they're, you would think that these are our options, but I'll tell you a little bit more about J.B. Pritzker, and then I'll show you some more options. So in addition to accelerating economic growth and creating jobs, Pritzker prioritized job creation. In pre-pandemic statewide unemployment reaching historic lows, with every region in the state creating jobs simultaneously for the first time in 20 years. Reached bipartisan agreement to rebuild and modernize the state's roads, bridges, public buildings, colleges, waterways, ports, parks, public transportation, and other key infrastructure. Introduced a 5-year economic plan to reinvigorate the state's economy by focusing on the nation's fastest growing industries. Major progress achieved even during the pandemic. Connect Illinois, the largest broadband expansion effort in Illinois history, to make high-speed internet service available to every resident and business in the state by 2024. This is very important. You'll say, get off that damn internet, get off that damn phone. It's not good for you anyway. That's true. But like I said earlier, the kids are on the Chromebooks doing their schoolwork. What are they going to do if they can't do their schoolwork? They're going to fall behind. That's what's going to happen. And a lot of people are work from home nowadays. There's kind of an expectation that you take your laptop home and you work a little bit on the weekends. Do I think that's fair? No. But I do think that that is the truth. And having that broadband internet, just the capability of it in your area is very important. Created a business apprenticeship tax credit, encouraging job growth and workforce development. Invested $25 million in the Illinois Works job program to support community-based organizations' efforts to recruit apprentices from diverse backgrounds to work on the state's massive infrastructure program. The extended incentive of the television and film industry, with Illinois becoming a top 5 production location and creating and supporting thousands of entertainment industry jobs. Creative incentives for job creation on new construction and renovations in underserved communities. Expanded jobs and revenue, legalizing sports betting, including allowing 6 new casino licenses, including downstate licenses that are already creating jobs. Now, this is, give or take. Let's give or take about that. Now, do I like gambling? Do I think it's an addiction? Yes. I, Dave Strider, think that gambling is an addiction. However, there's not much that you can do when your state has no money. Do I think they should have encouraged it? No. And that's, one thing that you need to look at when you look at politics. You look at the good and the bad. You look at the good and the bad, and you need to decide, what do I think of this person? And I think that he's done a lot of good. Pritzker also awarded the first de novo charter in 10 years to a unique nation first bank, operated and owned by women, focused on lifting up women owned small businesses. And that's wonderful. On the topic of addressing climate change and leading the green economy, we'll pick our green one for this one. Expanded wind and solar production to create jobs and revitalize rural communities. Became the first Midwest state to require 100% carbon-free energy by 2045, phasing out private coal by 2030 and all coal and natural gas by 2045. We joined the U.S. Climate Alliance and brought word of Illinois' commitments to the world stage at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Glasgow. Save thousands of dollars by preserving Illinois' valuable zero-carbon nuclear fleet, the largest in the U.S., at the lowest cost to ratepayers, preserving Illinois' bridge to a 100% clean energy future. We established a working group to ensure future vehicle purchases or leases by the state of Illinois will be low emission and zero emission vehicles. Very important. For investing in early childhood education, Pritzker, take this one here. Strengthened early education and childcare, the biggest state investment ever to early childhood programs and facilities, and set a goal to make Illinois the best state in the nation for raising young families. Increased reimbursement rates for early childhood educators for training in a curriculum to provide better and more stable early learning for very young children. Improved quality in early childhood education and child workforce by providing scholarships to upskill educators and caregivers. Created the new Division of Early Childhood to strengthen and expand the state's existing child care, home visitation services, and early intervention programs. And I'm just going to show you. Some of these nicer dice that I have. You want to see the nicer dice, or you want to see the bag of dice first? I think maybe we'll sort through the bag first. It's my little bag here. Well, this is a new one. This is a new one. I don't think that we've seen this one before. What do you think of this one? I think this one's great. What else do we have in here? We have green, nice yellow and green. This is quite beautiful. Yeah, in my lighting, it looks a lot. Looks quite a bit like a gem. Looks like a jam. I have this one here. Like this emo ass one. Yeah. This one's sick as hell. I have another one. It's quite emo. It's red. It's red. A little bit of black in there, but mostly red. What else do I have? But I have some more blues. There's some more blues in there. But I think most of these were seen in the other one. Get a little purple I can show you. Yeah. You like that? I think I like that purple and blue. Here are my fancy ones. Now I bought these quite a few years ago. Now these ones are all collected from various places. And I used to get myself a little treat to buy a little D20 whenever I had some extra cash. I'd buy a little D20 for myself and I put in this box. Unfortunately, I never have very good sunlight in my house. So these have stayed largely unsparkled. Let's go ahead and pull some out. There's a beautiful multicolor. Beautiful multicolor. I think is just gorgeous. I really love this peachy tone next to the blue. Really goes well together. Complementary colors. Very shiny as well. Second one here is nice. This is a heavy one. This heavy. I don't know if they made of stone or what. It's got this nice amethyst with this contrasting purple, contrasting yellow. It's very beautiful. Got some darker tones in there. Quite gorgeous. And maybe the most beautiful one so far. And this one, which is clear. I'm not quite sure what's inside of it. It looks like bubbles. It's like dark bubbles, lighter bubbles inside of it. It creates this very deep look. A lot of depth in this one. It's just the, D20 version of the rainbow one we saw earlier. Keep that one in the center. And this one I feel like I got for free with a set of other things. Got a little cat on it. It's quite cute. Cat head. And it's got a moon on it as well. I like the moon. Got this one with a set. Might be the next one. With some words on it. Yeah. You can tell the arrow when I bought these. Where's the other one? Yeah, there we are. Yeah. But I love the glass on it. I think it's, very iridescent. Pretty beautiful. I wish that it had just the numbers on it. That's my bad for buying it. This one's also quite heavy. And this one's really gorgeous because it's, it's almost like a little cool to the touch. And it's not just, a white one like we've seen with the others. This one has a bit of a green tint to it. A bit of a smoky green. It's sort of hidden in there. Very magnificent. It's just some very beautiful dice. I think we'll just this one for now. I just wanted to cap off on some of the other headlines. I won't go into too much detail, but Pritzker's done a lot of other work to strengthen, our elementary and secondary schools, making college more affordable, improving healthcare quality and affordability, advancing public safety, serving veterans and military families, supporting vulnerable communities, and working towards justice. reforming government entirely and working across the aisle.